If you're out there thinking a higher price tag automatically buys you a better shot out of the bunker, you're literally just burning cash and losing strokes. The hard truth? Some of the smartest wedge buys on the market right now are affordable, forgiving, and built for regular golfers, not tour pros. Later on in this explainer, I'll show you the one thing most buyers never check, and it costs them every single time. Plus, I'm going to reveal the absolute best overall value pick that most weekend players just walk right past.
So, why does this category confuse and cost golfers so much money? You walk into any golf shop or scroll online, right, and you see wedges sitting there priced at $150, $200, maybe even $250 a pop. They're marketed as the newest, the spinniest, and the absolute best for your game. Everyday golfers see those price tags and wrongly assume they've got to spend that much money just to get the ball out of the sand. Spoiler alert, you don't.
The reality is, throwing cash at a premium wedge is not going to fix the real reasons average players chunk shots around the green. Look at the actual issues here. Poor setup, playing the completely wrong bounce for your specific swing, and just bad contact. Throwing another $200 at the problem fixes exactly 0 of those things. The smarter move is finding an affordable wedge that actually fits your typical lie and the courses you play.
So what actually makes an affordable sand wedge worth your money? Let's break it down. First is bounce. You generally want a mid to high bounce for soft sand and fluffy lies. Second is forgiveness. You want a wider sole that won't totally punish your off-center hits. Third, you have to match your wedge shot flex to your irons. If you play regular flex irons, please do not suddenly shove a stiff wedge in your bag. That'll destroy your distance control. And finally, if you buy used, condition is everything. Before you buy, you need to hear this next part, because while overspending is a huge problem, going too cheap is honestly just as bad. Grabbing the absolute lowest priced wedge on the rack and totally ignoring the bounce is a guaranteed way to keep chunking your bunker shots. All right, let's get right into the picks. Pick number 1 is the classic cavity back sand wedge. You can often find these from major brands somewhere in the $40 to $70 range brand new, and obviously even cheaper used. This thing is the pure workhorse of the wedge world. It's built entirely for high handicappers who really struggle with consistent contact. That wider sole and cavity back design literally force the club to glide right through the sand instead of digging straight down. So who should actually buy this? Average golfers and beginners who just want an easy launch out of bunkers without overthinking complex technique. Even poor strikes will tend to pop the ball right up. But who should absolutely avoid it? Lower handicap golfers. If you're an advanced player who likes to flight bunker shots low or maybe open the face aggressively, this wedge is going to feel way too clunky. It severely lacks workability, and that's its real weakness. The cheaper option is not always worse. Here's the catch. Sometimes, a specific design feature matters way more than whatever brand name is stamped on the back of the club or the crazy price tag attached to it.
And that brings us to pick number 2, the high bounce wide sole wedge. Honestly, this is an incredibly underrated tool for the average American golfer. Think about it. Most public course bunkers you play are going to have soft to medium sand. Well, a high bounce wedge is built exactly for that condition. It effectively keeps the club from digging deep into fluffy sand or that thick, gnarly rough around the greens. The massive strength here is pure bunker forgiveness. You get one less thing to worry about in soft conditions. But I will be brutally honest about its real weakness. On hard, firm sand or super tight fairway lies, high bounce will fight you. It feels like the club is literally bouncing right off the ground, causing those awful, thin, bladed shots that skull all the way across the green. Yeah, we've all been there.
Moving on to pick number 3, which is basically the smart budget buyer's best-kept secret. It's the previous generation premium model. Look, the technology gap between last year's premium wedge and this year's premium wedge is incredibly small, but the price gap, it's huge. Grabbing a previous generation wedge means you get premium feel, premium spin, and a great look, but it is steep discount.
You should buy this if you care about feel and aesthetics, but absolutely refuse to pay that premium price tag. But you should definitely skip it if the clearance price is too close to the current model. I mean, there's 0 point in saving just $20 on a wedge that is 2 generations old when a 1 generation old model is only $30 more. You gotta shop carefully and run the math before you swipe your card. If buying used, this next point matters a lot. You can definitely find incredible values on the used rack, but there are strict rules you have to follow to navigate that market without getting completely burned. Which leads right into pick number 4, the used premium wedge in great shape. A used premium wedge with fresh grooves and a clean face is one of the best values in golf, period. You're getting tour-level performance for literally half the cost. but this only works if you're willing to spend 15 minutes checking the exact condition of the club before you hand over your cash.
Remember that thing I said most buyers never check? Here is your aggressive inspection checklist. Look at the 3 areas highlighted here. You absolutely must check the face, the sole, and the hosel. A used wedge with worn, shiny grooves is a terrible deal, no matter how cheap it is. If the face feels smooth to the touch, the wedge is dead. Walk away immediately. Check the sole for deep gouges and check the hosel for any signs of stress or separation.
All right, pick number 5 is our safe, no-regret pick. It's the forgiving, mid-bounce, all-around wedge. This wedge features a moderate sole width that works well across most normal course conditions and lies. Basically, it's the wedge you buy when you want solid performance, but you really don't want to overthink it.
The real strength of this wedge is its versatility. As you can see with the varied lies here, it handles soft sand, firmer sand, and basic fairway grass perfectly well for mid-handicappers. But its weakness is exactly that. It's not specialized. If you're a player who demands specific shot-shaping tools for deep, unique lies, this wedge just isn't going to give you that precise control. This is exactly where most golfers waste money. Let's pivot away from specific clubs for a second and look at smart buyer tips, because honestly, how you shop is just as important as what you buy.
Here are 4 fast, punchy rules to save you cash. Rule 1. Fit your bounce over the brand name. A $50 wedge with the right bounce will always outperform a $200 wedge with the wrong bounce. Rule 2. Do not overpay for premium spin rates you simply cannot generate. Paying an extra $100 for modern grooves is mostly just marketing for average players. Rule 3. Match your wedge shaft to your iron shafts to get consistent distance control. And Rule 4. Know when to spend. If you only play 5 rounds a year, an affordable wedge is really all you need.
Most buyers skip this and regret it later. Grabbing the newest tour model just because it looks incredible on the rack usually leads to really harsh mishits and wasted cash. You have to be honest with yourself and buy for your actual skill level and your local course conditions. Let's do a rapid-fire recap. Get the cavity back if you're a high handicapper struggling with bunker contact. Choose the high bounce, wide sole if you play soft, fluffy public course bunkers. Hunt for a previous generation premium model if you want top-tier feel on a strict budget. Buy a used premium wedge only if you have the patience to inspect the grooves, and go with the forgiving mid-bounce wedge if you just want an easy, versatile club for all conditions. Here's the final verdict, and the answer to the promise I made at the start of this explainer. The absolute best overall value pick for most everyday golfers is pick number 5, the forgiving mid to high bounce wedge from a major brand under $80. Buy it to easily launch the ball out of bunkers and keep cash in your pocket. But definitely skip it if you're a highly advanced player who needs a specialized grind.
Now I want to hear from you. What wedge is currently giving you trouble around the green? Drop a comment with your current handicap and your budget. Let me know what you struggle with most in the sand, and I'll help you figure out the smartest move to make next. And hey, if this breakdown saved you some cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button.